second to first say how overwhelmed I have felt tonight by so many people coming up to me and saying thank you, and this is all a wonderful event. And I know that I'm the face of Facebook events, and I help Greg out a lot with those things, but please always know it's a team effort, and there are so many people here that have worked tirelessly for the past few weeks pulling this together. So thank you so much to the Harbar boys, Janice Rubin, Janice Blue, Marianne, all of the wives, exes, futures, whatever. Everybody has just worked so hard. Yeah. So when this whole started about doing a eulogy, I was just thinking, like, how do you even put it into words what we are all experiencing right now? I mean, it's surreal, really. And then I thought, you know what? Greg Harbar could put it into words. Not concisely, but he could begin a sentence on Tuesday and still just be rolling through the hills of his memories on Sunday, and you would just be like, and then what happened, you know? Or pass to the left, either way, you know. If you were sitting in the kitchen of the Peden House over a Grego Espresso, or sitting in his living room at the Livy Lane house, usually on a chair, I think he did this on purpose, where the chairs were very low, and he would sit on his barber chair, so you were just like, yeah, and you know, vodka always helped. Monokolova, but that's what Greg Harbar did. He filled us up. He filled us all up, and he gave us permission to feel. You know, he made us part of his tribe. And on the caravan of his words, we traveled around the globe, and we traveled through time with him. And that's a pretty amazing thing that he shared. And the greatest thing I felt was always that you could look at him and you see that he did it with the humility of a man who truly felt content with his life. And what a wonderful place to be at any stage in your life. You know, the sound of Greg's voice is kind of like glue. It just, from him, poured out these tales of past adventures and promises of new ones, and it made us all stick together, and it made us stick around him. And that's so evident tonight by how many people have shown up to be here for this. Thank you. So, I'm not going to tell the one about the strawberry shits. But if you ever wondered, Greg Harbar says the best shits come from strawberries. So, I was going to start with all the things I learned from him, and I'm like, what's the best thing I learned? Eat a pint of strawberries, you're going to have the best shits for days. All right. But I also learned how to admire, like truly appreciate experiences. And I always enjoyed how Greg could be so humble about his own role in the long tenure of the Gypsies. While he talked about other musicians and singers and dancers, he sounded like a fanboy. Like, there are so many people here who have performed with Greg, and...
Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen. Hello!
Dude, if they're drunk and they're having a good time...
Yeah, but this is a eulogy. Give a listen.
It's all right. Prove it. Just remember, there's going to be a pop quiz at the end of this. You don't want to fail this one. All right. I mean, the point is that he was a fan of you. And the people that are here, Greg has a story, probably about every single person here. And he can remember exactly when and how it happened. And he could share those stories. And he made you into superhuman, amazing, idol-type human beings in a way that only Greg could do. And he probably also had a file on each and every one of you, just so you know. Watch out. I'm still looking for that file, Nick. Anyway. So when Greg injured his hip a few years ago, his plan was to get better and be able to do all the stuff he did before, even skate with the urban gypsies, with the urban animals, which he did a lot. And when the economy tanked, he planned how the band was going to grow when everything bounced back. Because, you know, he's a libertarian and he knows that that's going to happen. Every time Greg had trouble with his ticker or when cancer reared up, he planned how to get back on stage with his accordion as quickly as he could to be here with you. Some of you know, but when I first got sick a couple of years ago, Greg was pretty much the only person I could talk to about it, and he'd call and check on me after I had surgeries, and we would compare notes as he was going through his treatment. You know, different medications, things, stupid stuff people say to you when you're sick, you know. And we really both discussed how we kind of felt the same way about sharing news like that with people. Because for some people, especially for Greg, it can be kind of difficult when you're trying to hang on to your normal life, as amazing as his life was. And people won't let you forget that you're sick. So I think a lot of people were surprised over the past month or two to find out how much things had progressed. But it was because he wanted everyone to feel the show and feel the magic and make the beautiful memories and not dwell on the other stuff, because he wasn't planning to dwell on that. He was planning to make the next party for all of us. So eventually I came to understand that for Greg to stop planning to recover and to get back on stage would mean for him to give up. And I don't know if you know, but Greg was kind of stubborn, so that wasn't going to happen.
Our Greg was stubborn?
I know, it's a shock. I'm devastated. So Janice Rubin went to talk with him a few hours before he passed away to help guide him and help give him the opportunity to have a say in these things that would happen at this point in that whole journey. And Greg wouldn't have anything to do with it. He wasn't done planning, surviving, and coming back on stage and being here. And there was no other plan to be made for him. So, very tenacious. I always appreciated that, because he was focused on his goal of truly living. That same night, right before Janice visited with Greg, my daughter Raina came with me for one more visit at the VA, and she brought her violin with her to play a tune for him, because that's what they did. We would go to his house and they would jam, and she's really, really shy, but with Greg, she would play on a stool in front of his barber chair, and he would have the accordion going, and I would just sit there like amazed at what he was able to bring out of her. And the first time that she tried to play for him at the VA, it didn't really happen because there were so many people there around the clock spending those moments with him. And she was a little intimidated to walk in, and she saw a hospital room full of Greg's friends and band members and multiple wives. And honestly, I think the nurses probably thought that Greg had a harem with all the wives and side girls and, you know, him. I don't know. So the first night that we were going to serenade him, it didn't work out, but he did get to hear some music thanks to Marianne. She got Raina to jam a little bit, even learned a new song. And then Raina decided she wanted to try again. So Thursday night, a few hours before, she came with me one more time to the VA with her violin, and we threw everybody out of the room, and they were gracious enough to leave so that she could play for him one more time. And she played Rondo by Purcell, and then because one of the last people to leave was a rabbi, she immediately went into Hava Nagila. What are you gonna do? And just like all the times before when she sat on a stool in front of Greg's barber chair, the two of them jamming, she lifted her violin and she started to play, and Greg lifted his hand up and he was conducting her, and you could just feel these notes coming from this child's violin and just straight into his fingers, into his heart, and he felt it so deeply, and it was so moving to be the only person to get to be there to experience that. And when she started having the gila, he grabbed my hand and he was laughing. He loved a good joke, right? So here's what I want to say now. For all the students like my daughter Raina, who have studied with Greg, may we always be connected to the passion of the music. And to Rochelle and Justin, Marianne and Nick, for all of the years that these people have shared this man with all of us schmucks, thank you so much. We have been honored and humbled by this wild ride and can never stop thanking you for that. And for all of us fans who have enjoyed the ride while sitting at a table or dancing on some sticky bar floor, or, you know, singing badly at some after-gig party at the house, may we always find our own joy in appreciating these artists and the memories that they make for us. And may we always feel the joy of our memories and our own stories that we can share about Greg Harbar. And for the women and men here and all around and out there who have had the great fortune of sharing a stage with our maestro, may you take with you the discipline, the easy joy, and the admiration that Greg has always given. And here's to the next generation of gypsy musicians. Maybe you always have a road to travel and a story to tell. So how about the gila?